up, Taiwan? I'm Tiffany Wong with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan is bracing for Super Typhoon Kong-Rey. It's set to be the largest storm to hit the country in years. Rick Glowert has been following the typhoon's progress from Taidong on Taiwan's east coast, where it's expected to make landfall. Rick, how's it looking over there?
Well, not much wind here yet in southern Taiwan, but the wind and the waves here are picking up. And this is just the very outer edge of Typhoon Kong-Rey. The center is still some 500 kilometers off this coast. Officials here warning that this is going to become a very dangerous storm. Winds at the center already reaching up to 300 kilometers an hour, and it's expected to grow in both size and strength as it heads towards Taiwan. In terms of the forecast, it's going to be moving towards this part of the coast on Wednesday, with the eye making landfall in Taidong on Thursday. Over Thursday night, it will pass over Taiwan's central mountain range, weakening as it leaves the island into the strait on Friday. Taiwan is already warning that there will be about 1 meter of rain in areas, and there's a warning of the likelihood of risk of flooding and landslides. At the coast, you can expect waves of up to 10 meters. Taiwan has put 36,000 troops on standby to help with rescue and recovery efforts. Now, in this area of Taiwan, agriculture is very important, and we've been talking to people worried about the typhoon's potential devastating impact on their crops.
这个农民是靠天吃饭的，那当然台风来的时候，农损的话，当然大家会很难过啊，但是也没有办法。
Well, Taiwan is no stranger to typhoons. In fact, this is the third of this summer. But this is an exceptional storm, both in its strength and size, and also in its timing. It's very rare for a typhoon to come this late in the year. This typhoon taking many people in this part of the country slightly off guard.
Thanks, Rick. We'll check back with you later today for more updates. That was Rick Glowert live for us in Taidong. Taiwan's Coast Guard has rescued all 17 crew members from a Chinese cargo ship stranded off the northeast coast. The crew abandoned ship on Tuesday night after it was damaged by strong waves and gale-force winds caused by Kong-Rey. All crew members are safe and have been taken ashore to Geelong. There's been a last-minute development in the diplomatic spat that's been brewing between Taiwan and South Africa. It's emerged that South Africa is now open to talks over its demand that Taiwan move its representative office out of Pretoria. Chris Gorin has been following developments and joins us from our newsroom here in Taipei. Chris, South Africa set today as the deadline for Taiwan to move the de facto embassy. Is that deadline still in place?
Well, the South African Office of International Relations and Cooperation had previously said pretty unequivocally that Taiwan needed to move its liaison office from the city of Pretoria to the nearby city of Johannesburg. Now, I reached out to both the South African liaison office in Taipei and the Taiwan Foreign Ministry for a comment on this story, and both declined to comment any further. But South Africa had previously set a deadline for today, the 30th of October, to make that move, and Taiwan had refused to comply. So what's new is Taiwan is now saying that South Africa is open to further discussions on the topic. What we don't know is what caused South Africa to change its stance on this issue, and if these so-called discussions will actually allow Taiwan to keep its office where it is. Now, this all started about 2 weeks ago when it became publicly known that South Africa had made this request to Taiwan to move and change the name of its office. Currently, the liaison office is in the administrative capital of Pretoria, which is where South Africa's presidency is seated and where all of its foreign embassies are located. Now, they want Taiwan's office to move to the nearby city of Johannesburg, South Africa's largest city, and just about a 45-minute drive away. They also want to change the name of the office from a liaison office to a trade office, which South Africa says more accurately reflects the relationship that it has with Taiwan.
So, Chris, why is there so much controversy over the location and name of Taiwan's office there?
Well, it all boils down to one word: China. China requires all countries with which it has diplomatic relations to maintain a one China policy, which means they cannot also have diplomatic relations with Taiwan. And that's also why Taiwan has unofficial relationships with almost every country in the world, including South Africa, who broke off its diplomatic ties with Taiwan in 1997. Now, most people are viewing this move by South Africa to be one to placate China even further. After all, there haven't been any additional diplomatic disagreements between South Africa and Taiwan in recent times. But Taiwan has been through this before. Just a few years ago, in 2017, another African country, Nigeria, asked Taiwan to move its liaison office from its capital city to a less sensitive city. And at that time, Taiwan actually complied. So its more hardline stance with South Africa this time is a little bit of a change. Now, while South Africa had previously said that this deadline for today was non-negotiable, we'll find out later tonight just how hard that deadline really is.
We'll be keeping an eye on this. Thanks, Chris. That was Chris Gorin live in Taipei. A French naval vessel has transited through the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan's defense ministry says the frigate was sailing north, traveling from the Philippines toward Japan. The last transit of a French warship was in April 2023. It was the third foreign vessel to pass through the strait this month. U.S. presidential candidate Kamala Harris has described what day one of her term in office would look like compared to that of her Republican opponent, Donald Trump.
On day one, if elected, Donald Trump would walk into that office with an enemies list. When elected, I will walk in with a to-do list, full of priorities of what I will get done for the American people.
Harris made the comments at a rally in Washington, D.C. With less than a week to go before the election, she appealed to undecided voters, promising unity and warning of the dangers of a second Trump presidency. The rally was held near the White House at the same location where Trump spoke to supporters before they attacked the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. Donald Trump was popular in Taiwan when he was U.S. president. That's because the Republican candidate for the country's 2024 elections took a tough stance against China and gave unprecedented support to Taiwan. But would he still be supportive if he came back to power? Louise Watt reports from New York.
"77-year-old Taiwanese-American Fun Chong Fan eagerly awaits one of Donald Trump's final election rallies from his home an hour's drive away in New Jersey. He says if he was younger, he too would be in New York, lining up for hours in the cold to see his chosen candidate. He wants Trump to win the upcoming election and become president for a second time, believing the Republican will be better for the U.S. and Taiwan.
He is the first president of the United States that actually doing something to help Taiwan, just by doing what he did to weaken the control of China, the Chinese government.
Born in Taiwan, but in his 50th year living in the United States, Fan has a sense of loyalty to both countries and believes Trump will protect both better than his Democratic Party opponent, Kamala Harris. Putting his money where his mouth is, the retired doctor has donated $2,000 to Trump's campaign. When Trump came to power in 2017, he took a phone call from Taiwan's then leader, the first US president to do so since Washington switched diplomatic ties from Taipei in favor of Beijing in 1979. China claims sovereignty over Taiwan, and as Beijing increased military pressure on the island nation, Trump showed it more support, increasing arms sales and sending the highest-ranking US officials to Taipei in 40 years. But things might not be as clear-cut this time around. For decades, here in the heart of New York, the iconic Trump Tower building has reminded Americans of Donald Trump's brash ambition. He's built an image of himself as a successful businessman. Now he's suggesting the US should treat Taiwan as a business relationship too, saying that if he were president, Taipei should pay Washington for defending it from China. Officials in Taipei say Taiwan is responsible for its own defense. But Trump's comments have worried many in the country. A fear that political analysts have said is not unfounded.
So Trump is mercurial. He's also very transactional. But his advisors in the first term on Taiwan tended to be quite hawkish. They were very protective of Taiwan, and there was, I think, a defense-forward posture. Whether those same people would be in the second administration or people who had a similar position is completely up in the air at this point.
It's the day before Fan votes, and he's chatting politics with his fellow doctor and Trump supporter, Hui Ren-li, who still has family in Taiwan. But he too agrees with Trump that the US can't keep spending its money on other countries' wars.
The United States paid too much in the military expense. And everything's behind now. The United States have to take care of themselves right now. And I think I agree, Japan, Taiwan, Europe, they should pay they should pay for the protection.
As Trump battles for a second term in the White House, his supporters believe he can use his business experience to negotiate thorny political issues too, even ones with stakes as high as keeping the peace between Taiwan and China. Justin Wu, Ed Moon and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
Stay with us on TaiwanPlus for more coverage from the U.S. right up to election night. Prosecutors from Philadelphia have filed a lawsuit against billionaire Elon Musk for allegedly influencing the upcoming presidential election. At a rally supporting Republican candidate Donald Trump, Musk promised to give away $1 million to randomly selected registered voters in key swing states. Prosecutors have called the giveaway an illegal lottery that could sway the vote. The U.S. Justice Department also warned the giveaway could violate federal election laws. Musk is a staunch supporter of Trump, donating well over $100 million to the campaign and making regular appearances at rallies. The European Union is going ahead with extra tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles, triggering fears of a wider trade conflict. Tariffs of up to 45% will come into effect on Wednesday and last for 5 years. It brings to a close a year-long probe by the European Commission into whether China gives unfair subsidies to EV makers. China's Commerce Ministry says it does not accept the ruling, calling it protectionist. Beijing announced tariffs on brandy from the EU earlier this month, and it is investigating EU subsidies on some dairy and pork products. China says it has sent its youngest ever crew of astronauts to the Tiangong space station. The crew of 3 includes China's first female space engineer. They'll stay on the country's homegrown space station for the next 6 months. While there, they'll conduct experiments and spacewalks to advance China's space program. Beijing has made major strides in space exploration, and officials say their next major goal is to land a person on the moon by 2030. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with more footage of Typhoon Kong-Rey, which is already being felt on the East Coast. I'm Tiffany Wong. Take care and see you next time.
A pivotal election that will impact Taiwan and the world. Will it be President Harris or President Trump?
People, we are moving forward.
Make America great again.
I'm in the United States in the final stretch.
TaiwanPlus has you covered with exclusive reports from California to Texas and Washington to Florida. We'll be there on election night as America decides. Only on TaiwanPlus.